in this video, I just wanted to talk about the video modes on the G9M2 and what's kind of possible in camera and what has to go out to an SSD. And I've tried to kind of explain this to a few people and it's quite confusing to explain. So I thought I'd just make a quick video about it. And then if anybody asks, I can just point them to this video. And it's more of a, in a way, a slightly visual run through. Basically, the way it works is the camera's got SD cards. So the SD cards can only write to a certain speed for video. And then anything outside of that, you'll have to go to SSD. And it's very similar to the GH6. So the GH6 has got a SD card and CF Express card. So there are certain modes that can only be written to that CF Express card. And that introduces, like a whole range of issues in sort of disparity between the two kind of cards. And there's kind of a similar thing on here. And, I'm not taking anything away from the G9M2. It's obviously a very capable camera and, especially for video, considering it's a photo first. But it's just to kind of explain, what's available in camera and what's not. So what we'll do is we'll just jump into, this is the best place to explain it, basically, the instructions for the G9M2. And in the rec quality section, you can see what they say is to record anything above a bit rate of 72 megabits per second or more, you basically just need a decent SD card. You'll want that. If you want to record anything decent on there, high quality video on there, get a decent V90 card. I'll link to some in the description. You just want to get a good quality SD card. Otherwise, it's not going to work well. And for video with a bitrate of 800 megabits a second or more, you can't record that to the SD card. So then you have to go out to SSD. So we'll kind of run through and I'll show you which modes that is. And for ProRes, it's a little bit more black and white. It's a bit easier to understand than this kind of this method. So anything other than FHD can't be recorded to an SD card. You'll need to use SSD. So what we'll do is we'll just quickly run through the modes quickly and I'll kind of show you which ones can and can't be used. So in MP4, we've got like a mixture of 10-bit and 8-bit video modes. They're all quite small. So you can see there, everything's under, it's fine. So there's nothing to worry about there. NTSC and PAL are very similar for the most part. I've done a video about system frequencies on Lumix cameras, so I'll link to that up in the corner. But yeah, basically anything in MP4, fine. You don't even have to worry about it there. It's when you get to the MOV mode, you can see here we've got the concept of kind of 422 long op and 422 10-bit All-Intra. And All-Intra generally tends to be where things go over and you'll have to use an SSD. So you can see here we've got column B is our bit rate, megabits per second. So we're looking for anything 800 or above. And you can see the first one we've got here, C4K. Basically you can see there it's 422 10-bit All-Intra. The I specifies it's All-Intra, the L is long op. So right at the end of this, they'll tell you H basically is anything that is above, I think H is anything above 800 and L is anything above 600. So really just looking for anything with a H or an 800 or above in this column. So C4K 60, we've got C4K, what have we got there, 48. Again, that falls into it. We've got 4K 60, again, 422 10-bit, All-Intra. We've got 4K 48. Going down. So this is full HD 240 frames a second. So one of the HFR modes. Again, 10-bit All-Intra, like I say, they pretty much all are. And then that's it really on there. So, it is only a handful of the modes on there, but those shooting modes are very good modes, to be honest, for, if you want the best out of it, they are worth using. And in which case, if you're going to do it, just get yourself an SSD. They're pretty cheap to buy. I've got a video on like which SSDs and stuff are like the recommended ones. I'll link that up in the corner. So yeah, if you kind of want that, then do that. And again, this is, it sort of falls into PAL now. It's all the same, so I'm not going to run through them again. You can see like 4K, it's 50 in this rather than 60, and you know, FHD 200 rather than 240. So we won't run through it because it's just the same again. In the cinema setting, under the system frequency, nothing actually falls into it. So again, if you're using MP4 or cinema, nothing to worry about. There's nothing there that even falls into that category. And we saw above, ProRes is one that basically is the most affected by it. So you've got some of the HD modes. For me, this is a little bit of a blurred line because I haven't got my hands on the camera, so I couldn't tell you exactly if all of these definitely work from FHD 60. Oh, sorry, FHD 60. There are some limitations on the GH6 in terms of some of this, but they're basically saying you can at least shoot in some of the FHD modes. So if you shoot 1080p and you basically, you know, want to use ProRes just for a HD timeline, then you know you've got some options there, so that's good. And then anything outside of that, you know, let's say here to here, basically 4K or above, you know, 5.7 C4K. Well, actually, sorry, don't even get OpenGate in ProRes, but yeah, all of these modes, they're basically again going to have to be shot to an SSD. I did a similar video about this for the GH6 on which ones have to go to a CF Express card and which ones can go to SD. And as I say, it's a very similar thing. It just hasn't got that CF Express slot inside. And that's it really. It's basically that's just kind of a breakdown of it. I wanted to kind of explain it and just sort of show, you know, what I mean when I'm saying that and what those kind of limitations are. And you know, because it's a hybrid camera that's kind of photo first, it's probably not going to affect, you know, like the absolute majority of people. But if you were buying it thinking, oh, I really want to shoot ProRes internally, or I really want to shoot you know, those 422 All-Intra modes internally, then it's worth just understanding that you probably will need an SSD drive to do that. So yeah, that's it really. And yeah, hopefully that's been helpful. If it has, give the video a like. If you want to see more content like this, then please subscribe.